In the spring of 1893, the United States entered one of the darkest economic chapters in its history, a crisis that would later be known as the Panic of 1893. At the time, America was still riding the confidence of the Gilded Age, an era of rapid industrial growth, towering fortunes, and expanding railroads that stitched the nation together. But beneath this surface of progress lay deep financial weaknesses. The economy was dangerously overbuilt, especially in railroads, which had been financed by massive loans and speculative investments. When several major railroad companies collapsed under heavy debt, confidence in the financial system cracked. In February 1893, the failure of the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad sent shockwaves through Wall Street, triggering panic among investors who rushed to withdraw their money. Banks began to fail in waves, credit dried up, and businesses across the country were suddenly unable to operate. As fear spread, the crisis quickly moved beyond Wall Street and into everyday American life. By the end of the year, more than 500 banks had collapsed, and nearly 15,000 businesses were forced to close their doors. Unemployment soared to nearly 20%, leaving millions of Americans without work, savings, or security. Factories shut down, wages were slashed, and breadlines became a common sight in cities that had once symbolized prosperity. Farmers were hit especially hard, already struggling with falling crop prices and mounting debt. With banks failing and credit unavailable, many lost their land, deepening rural poverty and fueling resentment toward industrial elites and the federal government. At the heart of the crisis was a bitter debate over money itself. The United States was officially on the gold standard, meaning paper currency was backed by gold reserves. However, silver had also been used in limited amounts, and many Americans believed expanding silver coinage would increase the money supply and ease economic pain. President Grover Cleveland firmly supported gold, fearing that inflation and weakened confidence would worsen the crisis. As gold reserves in the U.S. Treasury dwindled, Cleveland made the controversial decision to repeal the Sherman Silver Purchase Act, which had required the government to buy large amounts of silver. While this move stabilized gold reserves, it angered farmers, laborers, and populists who felt betrayed by an administration they believed favored bankers and industrialists. Social unrest soon followed economic collapse. In 1894, Jacob Coxey led a march of unemployed workers to Washington, D.C., demanding government-funded public works programs to create jobs. Though peaceful, the march was dismissed by political leaders, and Coxey was arrested, symbolizing the government's unwillingness to intervene directly in the economy. That same year, the Pullman strike erupted when railroad workers protested wage cuts imposed by the Pullman Company. The strike paralyzed rail traffic across much of the nation and escalated into violence. President Cleveland sent federal troops to break the strike, arguing that it interfered with mail delivery and interstate commerce. The decision restored order but further deepened public anger and exposed the growing divide between labor and government power. The Panic of 1893 dragged on for 4 long years, making it the worst economic depression the nation had experienced up to that point. Recovery was slow and uneven, and the crisis permanently altered American politics and public attitudes. It fueled the rise of the populist movement, strengthened labor activism, and reshaped debates over monetary policy, government responsibility, and economic justice. While the economy eventually stabilized as gold supplies increased and industrial growth resumed, the human cost of the panic left a lasting mark on the nation's memory. More than just a financial crash, the Panic of 1893 revealed the fragile foundations beneath America's rapid rise and exposed the consequences of unchecked speculation, inequality, and political division. It was a warning written in bank failures, empty factories, and silent rail lines, a reminder that progress without stability can collapse in an instant, and that the struggles of this era would shape the economic debates of the modern United States for generations to come.